Mansius. I'm a resident of West Columbia, Texas. I have a degree in chemical engineering. I've worked in the chemical engineering business for about 30 years. I also have a law degree from the University of Massachusetts, School of Law. I was kind of an outlier in that school and kind of very much a misfit. Our nation, we are at a crossroad. We have a high debt. We have, during my lifetime of 58 years, we have watched government intrusion from the federal level, intrude into every part of our life. In the original Constitution, the word Commerce Clause, and what it was referring to was for the federal government to manage commerce and its free flow between the states. It was not about regulation. That started to change in the early 1800s and has come to an apex in our time and age. Some of the luster that this nation has enjoyed, and some of it in my lifetime and before, has kind of been tarnished a little bit by some of the things that have been happening. I myself have been chased around this country, mostly because of the EPA encroachment into where they should not have gone into business. Government's role in business ought to be very limited, and it ought to be at our state level so that Texans can run Texas. Unfortunately, that has not been the case. It comes a time when I think that each of us need to think about what our role is as citizens, and this is why I'm running. I believe that at some point in time in the very near future, we need to amend our Constitution to refocus and make it more clear what the roles of the federal government and the state governments are, that we might be able to limit more clearly where we are. In the long run, let me just talk a little bit about some constitutional history for a minute. It's dear to my heart. In 1787, some of the most brilliant minds in this world of government gathered together in Philadelphia. For almost 2 months, they argued and quarreled. It was believed that it would break apart and that we would continue with the Articles of Confederation. Benjamin Franklin, in his great diplomatic appealed for a recess, and then he appealed that they asked for a prayer. There is no evidence that a formal prayer was ever said, but it was recorded very clearly in the record that they all but three recognized that the God of heaven had to play a role in what they were doing. A few weeks later, a miracle document came forth that gave a government of differing and individual powers to each level, something that had never been done before. Unfortunately, in my lifetime particularly, that has been trampled on. I have lived all over this country, from the Pacific to the Atlantic, from the mountains to the oceans. I can tell you there was a variety of opinions, as much as there was then. If we're going to change this government, we're going to need his help. That is something that I know. I appreciate the opportunity to be here among you and for the right to run for this office. It is a very wonderful system that we